Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to another review of a classic vintage fountain pen. Today, I have for you a beautiful model from the early 1950s, and we will talk about the Montblanc 244G. You can see it comes in this wonderful celluloid. We have a few signs of the passing of the time. You can see though this transparency, this patina that is specific to the celluloid models. First of all, you must know that in the 1950s, after the Series 1, also known as the Meisterstücks, the masterpieces, the Series 2 were considered middle fountain pens, but their quality was quite high. For instance, this fountain pen cost new 28.5 Deutschmark. In comparison with 146 that cost around 54 Deutschmark. And I have a 146, a Meisterstück here. Let me compare them. First of all, you notice that the Meisterstück, the masterpiece, had three gold rings in comparison with only two gold rings on this 244. Again, there is a slight difference at the ending, at the cap. Of course, the 146 is a little bit longer. It has another design of the clip, but both of them had the same patina, this logo that looks like an ivory. It is a material called casein, and in time it develops this ivory patina. Another difference is that the series Meisterstück have this ring at the end of the turning knob. And of course, a major difference is in the nibs. So both of them unscrew, and you can see their nibs. So let me show them to you. Clearly, on the Meisterstück 146, we have a larger nib, a two-tone color nib in comparison with the single tone of the 244. Both of them, you can see they are 14 karat gold nibs. And what I like about those early models is this ebonite feed, this slim ebonite feed, also known as a ski slope type feed. It is a trait only to the early models from the early 1950s. Both of them have ink windows. Indeed, on the 146 is quite dirty, but you can notice it easier on the 244G. And of course, they are both piston fillers. But the difference between those piston fillers is that this 146 has a telescope piston filler, and this has a simple piston filler. So enough with the comparison with the Meisterstück line. Let us now, guys, see how it compares with other fountain pens. And I have prepared for you this Montblanc 342. So 244 in comparison with the 342. Let me zoom out. So the middle class represented by the 244 with the lower class, let's say entry-level fountain pens for students. Of course, they were quite expensive, also the series free, but we will see some differences between them. So in length, they are approximately the same length. Maybe the 244 is slightly bigger than the other one. Let us now look at the logo. You can see that the logo is quite bigger on the 244, and on this model 342. You can see the model right here. We have only one gold ring, and here we have two gold rings. Again, on the turning knob of this model 244, we can see the model imprinted. Instead, on this, we don't have but only the size of the nib, oblique medium. As a nice history stuff, both are imprinted with the name of their original owners. So I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Hedwig Spalis and Friedhelm Wechmann. So those were the two original owners. Both of them are celluloid, and now let us compare their nibs. So bear in mind the 244 on screws, and this model also on screws. But we have a difference, of course, in the nib size. The 244 has a number 4 nib size, and this is a number 2 nib size. Let me zoom on them. Yes, you can see them. Another difference is the ink windows, and the pistons, I think, are the same. Okay, guys, let me put the 342 aside. I also have a model 252, another small model. This time we have a pressure fit cap, and in comparison with this model, we have another type of nib. We have the different ink windows. Again, the 244 is slightly bigger. And guys, I have another model. This is a 254. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the original nib, but I have a piece right here with the original nib. So it is interesting to show you a model called, look at it, called 254. So 254 in comparison with 244. This should be interesting. Again, a slightly different clip and a more flat ending here and a more pointy flat on the 244. Interesting, guys. At the size 254, 244. Yes, it seems that the 254 is a little bigger. And look at it. The 254 has this pressure fit cap, and this has to unscrew at the 244. And now let's look at the nibs. So both number 4 nibs, but different designs. 14 karat, only one tone of gold. This time we have a later ebonite feed. It suggests us that this is from the late 50s, and this is from the early 50s. Guys, this was my comparison with the model 254, MONTBLANC 254. On the desk I have boxes, old boxes from the 1950s and 1960s, and even an etui with MONTBLANC. And this contains, I believe, a Monte Rosa, or an early Monte Rosa. But I have also a contemporary, if we can call it like this, or a modern Meisterstück from 1983, because I want to show you the difference in color. So the 1950s model have that ivory logo, and this has the white ivory. So I will leave also this aside. Guys, you've seen that it has the personalization. So this fountain pen was the proprietary of Friedhelm Wechmann. And another interesting trait, it has thermally imprinted on the cap MONTBLANC and the summit of the MONTBLANC. Quite interesting. It is in beautiful shape. You must know that I paid for it 600 lace, which means I paid 122 euros or 147 American dollars. This was including the shipment. In fact, the seller delivered this and presented it to me personally. So it's a wonderful, wonderful fountain pen. I've already shown you the clip-on screws. You've noticed the two rings on the cap, the interesting clip, and the old vintage Montblanc. And of course the thermically imprinted Montblanc here. I will put the cap here, and it reveals this wonderful nib. And on these older models we can see that the size of the nib, it is an M from a medium nib. So this is a medium nib. I always love that on the 1950s Montblanc models we have a slight flex. So then don't get me wrong, it isn't a big flex, but definitely when you do the writing with it, and I hope I can show you on the writing sample, you can flex a little bit with this nib. And always to know if a nib is nice, you can do the finger test and you gently push on your finger and you can see the two tines. Okay, they move apart from each other. Again, the beautiful ebonite feed. This is my favorite ebonite feed from all the Mont Blancs. It highlights in a way the beautiful gold nib. And guys, when you see this ebonite feed, just bite, and you won't regret it. Like I told you, this wasn't a cheap fountain pen. It cost in a catalog 28.5 Deutschmark. In comparison with the Diplomat 149 that was 90 Deutschmark, or the 146 which was 54 Deutschmark. Back in the 1950s, after the 146 was the 144 that you could buy for 45 Deutschmark, and the model 142 which you could buy for 38.5 Deutschmark. Unfortunately, I don't have those models in my collection yet, but I hope that I will acquire them soon. My goal is, guys, to acquire all the Mont Blancs that were available in the early 1950s, especially those equipped with this ski slope type feed. Again, we have a nice concave ending of the grip section, which gives us a little grip position. We have an ink window, quite dirty, and we have this piston filler. It has a blind cap, so it's not an integrated piston filler like we have on the Meisterstück line. And we simply unscrew, and you can see now here the ending of the piston, and it moves very quick. So it means that I think that the cork at the end of the piston filling mechanism needs to be replaced. Indeed, if it's not replaced, it won't create the vacuum, so the ink won't enter the barrel room. But of course, this won't stop us, because when we do the writing sample, if it doesn't work, we will simply do dipping of the ink nib in the bottle of ink. Okay, guys, so without further delay, I will change the angle of the camera for the writing sample, and after that we will continue our video. But foolish as I am, I never speak to you about the dimensions of this fountain pen. So I will put it side by side with the model 146 from 1950s with the modern 146 equipped with a silver cap and of course with the competitor from the Pelican, and I thought that the Pelican M800 will do a nice job. So now I will change the angle of the camera, guys. So bear with me, it was quite a delicate procedure. Let me see if I can get this right. Okay, so I am now level with the paper, and I promised you that I will put it side by side near a 146, a Meisterstück 146 from the 1950s, a modern 146 with a silver cap, and you can notice the difference between a classic 146 from the 1950s and a modern 146. And of course the main competitor, the Pelican, and I have both colors, so the classic green stripe and classic black Pelican M800. Let me level them, and after that I will show them to you. So guys, these are the fountain pens. You can see that our 244 is a medium-sized fountain pen, quite similar with the 146 from the 1950s. So side by side all of them, starting with the two Pelican M800, our 244G, our Meisterstück 146 from the early 1950s, and a modern 146 with a silver cap. And it's interesting, let me see if I can show them to you without the caps, and I will try to level them as good as I can. So this here, this right beside it here, and yes, I'm sorry guys, when I try to do something interesting. Let me see the 244, and now their competitors, the modern M800. You know that the M800 was launched in 1987, so they are quite modern in comparison with the other fountain pens. Let me show them to you now. So quite large nibs. Even the 244 has a large nib. Of course, a little bit smaller than the other ones. And we can see the 146 has approximately the same nib as the M800 from Pelican. Guys, I will leave also the dimensions of our fountain pen on the screen in the time that I will take this away. So after that we will do the writing sample. Maybe the piston needs a new cork, I'm not so sure, but we will see about that. Of course, I will take the Pelicans and the 146s aside, and we will remain with our fountain pen. So for the writing sample, you know that my favorite ink when it comes to vintage piston fillers is the Parker Quick Ink. And why is that, guys? Because the Parker Quick Ink, it is quite a lubricated ink, and in my opinion I think that it cleans, and it also gives a little bit of yes, of lubrication to the piston filler that is in constant move. So I will open it and put it here. Let me see. So guys, this is the procedure. I will put the cap here. You know that I don't like to post my cap, but I will show you that yes, it can be posted quite securely. I don't like to post it. And in time, maybe you can notice on camera, it is a slight difference, because the cap was put, and in time it developed this difference in the level. Okay, guys, so remember, we have a blind cap, so I will put the cap here, and now I hope that you can see. Okay, the piston is fully reached the end. Okay, now I will put like this. Okay, and let me see if I can fit it. Yes, you can see it has a little bit of ink. Definitely needs a new cork, and I will see what I can do. So remember, guys, always put back the cap after you use the bottle, and be prepared, not like me. Always have a tissue aside you, because you need to clean the fountain pen. You can see the ink definitely wasn't drawn to the body. I will see if it writes. So let me see now if it writes. Yes, definitely it writes. And now for a better viewing, let me zoom. I want a real big zoom for you to see how it writes. So this is the MONTBLANC 244G. Quite a nice, beautiful celluloid, made in Germany, in the early 1950s. My favorite time and my favorite models from Montblanc from the early 1950s. Let me tell you what I paid for it. I paid 600 lace, which means I paid around 122 euros for it, or 147 American dollars. I think I did quite all right with it. Now, guys, let me show you how juicy it is. It appears to be quite juicy. Yes, you can see definitely a nice little juice. Let me show you the flexibility of it, and I hope you can see. Maybe it needs a little bit more zoom. Okay, let me see. Yes, because I want to show you. So it's quite difficult for me, but definitely you can see a little bit of line variation. So I will call it semi-flexible 14 karat gold nib. A quite nice nib. Okay, guys, let me do the pressure test now here. So here a line without pressure, and here some lines with pressure. So definitely we have a line variation. Okay, we have a line variation. Let me zoom out, and let me see what I can tell you about it. We can see how it does a signature, so quite nice review. Nice. It is a quite smooth writer. And now we are ready for the big bad fox. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So you can see quite a nice writer. I'm impressed with it. I know it needs a new cork, but it can hold a decent amount of ink. By the way, guys, this nib is an M nib. I'm from medium, and it feels quite nice. So, guys, this was my review of classic Mont Blanc from the early 1950s. I repeat, this is my period. This is my main focus of the collection. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you did, please subscribe to the Bank Collector. It really helps me a lot in my YouTube activity of discovering this beautiful writing instruments. I want to wish you to have a nice day wherever you are. Thank you for your time. I will see you again at the next episode. Till then, bye bye, guys, and please take care of yourselves.